All right. It is my pleasure now to be joined by a multi-sport athlete, but certainly a very good football player, a man headed to the Senior Bowl, none other than Payton Turner. Man, how you doing today?
Good, man. Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you taking the time because I'm sure it's got to be a weird time because you just wrapped up the college football career. The Senior Bowl is right around the corner. I'm sure you're just trying to get ready, but how do you just describe this past year and what's transpired? Like, how do you feel right now after where this roller coaster has taken us?
I mean, dude, this year was chaos, man. UH, we got 8 games canceled. There's COVID. There was everything going on in the world, man. There's a lot going on, so it was a unique season for sure.
Focusing on like literally today in this moment, like how does it feel being like I am no longer a college football player? I have one kind of all-star event and then it's just straight combine prep stuff.
I mean, it's exciting, to get the opportunity, but everybody doesn't get the opportunity. So I'm really just trying to take it in, just go day by day, get better. It's really exciting though. If there's one word to describe it, it'd be exciting.
No, this was your first year, right, in this new defense that Houston was running, and you're playing defensive end, which is a little bit of a shift from where you had been on the interior of the defensive line. So what's it like for you getting the Senior Bowl invite when you basically played 3.5 games this year at a position that you weren't really used to? I mean, that's got to, like, you talk about exciting. That right there is, that screams someone's doing something right.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, it's my second year in the defense, but like you said, I only played really 3.5 games. Played a little bit of Central Florida, but it was a learning curve for sure. That first year that I got there, my junior year, learning curve going from 4-eye where it's almost a read attack, take 2 quick steps to being more aggressive on the edge. So there's for sure a learning curve that came in there, but coaching and work got better at it. So got the production.
And before we jumped into this, you were telling me that you were a multi-sport athlete growing up. Football was definitely not your number one sport just a few years ago. So how much when you just think about the ease, you made it look easy, the transition to playing on the edge, whether it's thinking about being a basketball player or being on a baseball field, did you feel that having just other sports that you had under your belt, did that help you get out there and move in space a little bit differently?
Yeah, DN, you really get to showcase athleticism on field, and you got to be a pretty good athlete to play basketball, man. I was pretty competitive with basketball, so I think that transitioned over to the football field, and yeah, man, football was for sure not my best sport growing up, dude. It was fun to watch, but it wasn't my best sport. So I'd say baseball was probably my first best sport. Just fell out of love with that. It's a little bit too slow for me, and then basketball was my first love though. So. But yeah, man, I turned out to be a pretty good football player, and I'm bringing me here.
Yeah, if anyone just sort of goes on Twitter and searches your name, right, you'll see praise from Jim Nagy. Everyone will call out like your big effort plays and just the clips of you making these hard cuts that you don't see guys your size. No one at 270 is really cutting like that. So it's just obvious to me that there's a lot of athleticism there. And generally that comes from being in other, like you weren't just a D lineman. There's no way that you just got there and bang, you move like that right off the bat.
Right. Yeah, man. Basketball, I think a lot of that's contributed to basketball, man. I got to give a lot of that credit to basketball. You got to play defense, jumping, cutting, all that, man. Everything that you do at DN, you can trace back to basketball, man. So I think that was really something that helped me be successful in my career.
So, if that's part of your equation, that multi-sport athlete, coming from, playing 3 technique and 4-eye, obviously that skill set still transitions when you go outside. What did you really have to focus on? Because I'd imagine you got a lot of the strength, bull rush stuff sort of lined up already with your size and experience, but how did you focus on, like, what do I really need to nail in order to be a proficient edge rusher?
Yeah, edge rushing is all about bending, being more aggressive, ball get off. So when I was down there in 4-eye, 3 tech, a lot of times, I'm taking double teams. You got to get quick steps, get your foot back in the ground. But DN's all about being explosive, coming off the ball, So I think that's where a lot of that basketball stuff helped. Like I said, being explosive, coming out off the rock. But yeah, it was for sure a change. So I had to get better with bending. I had to get better with my coming out my hips, getting upfield, and just like ankle mobility was pretty big because I was pretty stiff ankled. You only take 2 or 3 steps, quick steps at a 4-eye before you're making contact. So and with my height, it's kind of hard to keep leverage in there with those lower guards. So I really got to work on getting off the rocks. So that was the biggest thing, I think, that transition to being an edge rusher.
Yeah, I talked to Jordan Smith. He's coming out of UAB. You'll, I'm sure, see him at the Senior Bowl. But he talked a lot about that bendability and leverage too. So, is this sort of like the X factor in being an edge rusher in college football? Like you need to have that, or would you say there's maybe another skill set that is the number one priority you need?
I mean, I think
there's no right or wrong here.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just depends on how you play on the edge. Some people might say number one thing is being explosive. Getting off the rock, getting that first 2 or 3 steps, and then. But I mean, I do agree. I think that being able to bend and turn that corner is probably the most crucial factor to being on the edge in college football, for sure, in my experience.
Now, when you got to Houston, though, learning this 3 technique 4-eye, this guy named Ed Oliver was there. So, from the bat, when you get there, just sort of maybe a little deer in the headlights, seeing some of these big guys. But I mean, like, did you get anything from, and I know it was just 1 year that you were able to cross paths with him, but did you see something that he was doing that you were immediately able to add to your game?
Yeah, I mean, the dude plays with leverage and he's explosive. Those are the 2 words that I use to define him. And the work ethic's going to be there, obviously. So I mean, it was nice having him around, and kind of taking me through things. But yeah, watching him practice, he practiced hard, played harder. So I mean, those you want to be the best, you got to compare yourself to the best. So it was nice to have someone, a measuring stick, right next to me. Every play, every rep, we go into film, watch each other, talk to each other, mess around, cool. But yeah, man, getting that, it's like that dog mentality that you're not going to be blocked, you don't want to be blocked, get your hands off me, all that stuff. That for sure transferred over to me. I think just watching him play, and then watching myself play and coaching each other up. So I'd say that's the biggest thing I got from there.
Yeah, for sure. Players teach players. As much as you need coaches, players can coach players, and sometimes that really makes the difference. But focusing on the coaches, you come in at a time where, we're going to get a little more into your recruiting story, but, Coach Herman was at University of Houston. He begins the recruiting process for you. Coach Applewhite comes in. He actually gets you to Houston, but obviously now you just wrapped up playing for Coach Holgorsen. So, man, what did, I guess specifically looking at how Coach Applewhite left, Coach Dana comes in, what was it like seeing someone come in and try to just reinstall a brand new culture that was different than what you guys had been through?
I mean, change is always different. Change is always tough, change isn't always bad though. And, it's not always good, but I honestly enjoyed the process of learning a new system, learning, new weight coach, meeting new people. Like I said, new schedule. But I think Coach Holgorsen did a good job with the transition. He's building a program back in Houston that everybody can get back behind. The city can get back behind. But I mean, it's just another challenge, and I enjoy challenges. So it was fun learning a new system, going from a 3-4 front to a 4-3. But yeah, Coach Giles did recruit me when I was. But prior to Coach Applewhite being a head coach, Coach Giles and Coach Herman were recruiting me, but they went to Texas, and then I ended up signing to Coach Applewhite. Loved him, great dude. I don't know what he's doing now, but I'm sure he'll be successful wherever he ends up. But yeah,
South Alabama offensive coordinator, I think.
Oh, is that the okay? Awesome.
I think. I don't know if that he's definitely working with QBs at least.
Yeah,
but
I know he was at Bama for a little bit these past few years, so that's gotta be fun. But Yeah, it was a ride. College football is crazy, man. You don't know who you're gonna end up playing for sometimes. But I enjoyed the process. It was good. I enjoyed my time at Houston.
You're going to have to learn a whole bunch of new faces and so I think that it just sort of helped you get used to I'm going to have to learn a whole new way of doing things. So I definitely think it sets you up.
Right.
But this year didn't necessarily set you up because, like we talked about from the top, right? COVID messes up just a couple things.
Yeah.
So, man, what was it like for you to actually test positive? Like, just that, oh crap moment, I tested positive, but like, how did it actually make you feel? And, are today getting ready for the rest of your life? Like, are you 100% again?
Yeah, man. So I got hurt in that Central Florida game, and then I was doing rehab. Finally got back to where I felt like I could play. Whether it be limited or not. So we go play South Florida. I think it was the next week or the week after. I think one game might have got canceled. We go play South Florida. I'm in the hotel and I get called down to the front, with the mask on and everything. They tell me I got contact tracing. So, my game back, the morning of the game, I get told I can't play. So for sure, a gut punch, just for contact tracing. I hadn't tested positive that Friday before we left the school, but I was getting excited to play. I was in the game plan and everything. And then, you get told you can't play the morning of, and then I popped positive Monday. So, I go 2 weeks in isolation or 10 days into isolation, not doing anything, not doing any rehab, not working out. It's really mental, honestly. In my situation, it was pretty mental. I know a few of my teammates and a few people around college football, got it really bad. I was grateful. I was blessed enough not to get it too bad. Lost my smell. Still don't really have my smell. I got a candle right here, actually.
That's the test.
White Barnes candles, that good stuff. But I can smell a little bit. But it's more of me just being tired and not really having an appetite, not being able to work out. It's more mental for me. Just being away from the game, away from my boys, away from the coaches, away from everybody. So it was tough. And you really don't want that to happen your senior year, miss some games. So it was hard, but I got through it. Still getting back in shape, with everything, getting ready for Senior Bowl, Combine. So that's fun, but yeah, it sucked, man.
So how much did that play into your decision to opt out of the bowl game?
Yeah, well, so it was for sure a factor. I had been away from football, like I said, for however long, and then we got some more games canceled. Finally got to get back into rehab and getting healthy, trying to get back in shape. But I just didn't feel like I was ready to play and compete at the level that I wanted to. I came back that Memphis game, played was it 10 snaps, got a sack, but I just wasn't ready to play. And the biggest thing in my life at that point was my future. So I had to think about myself in that situation and my family. So it was for sure a factor, though. I was out of shape and everything. So just how it went, how it played out.
It's a tough call to make.
Yeah, it was really tough.
I'd imagine up until actually deciding, do you want to, like, where do you want to play your, go to school? What's your future going to hold? I'd imagine that, like, actually deciding Houston, like, this has to be right up there with one of the toughest decisions you had to make a call.
Man, that was top three, man. Top three toughest decisions I've made in my life.
And one thing that should be noted, right, is while you did decide to go to University of Houston, you are a smart guy. You could have gone Ivy League. So, man, you made the decision to go to Houston despite the coaching change. So, what actually led you to decide to be a hometown kid, not leave, and not go Ivy League? And are there other career aspirations maybe down the line?
Yeah, man. So I had a few Ivy League offers. I took a visit up to Cornell actually a few weeks before my Houston visit, but that one was actually for basketball, believe it or not. But I don't know, man. I love the city. I love Houston. I saw myself being having a better chance at the NFL than the NBA at that point in my life. So that's the route I went. I love the city. I loved Coach Applewhite, the guys that recruited me. So I didn't see anything better than being able to stay home with by my family and play for my city. So that's how I ended up at Houston.
Very cool. Um, well, I want to take a little bit of a hard turn right here because, one of the things I saw on your Twitter feed just a month ago, December 2, you put out a tweet saying, "Can't explain the pressure I put on myself." So I go, what was going through your mind at that moment where you wanted to put that out there? But also, like, let's talk about this, right? How are you approaching your craft and your future if you're going to be putting all this pressure on yourself? Like, let's flesh this thing out.
Yeah, man. I mean, from a kid, I've always been competitive. My parents have been competitive, and they love that. I'm come from an athletic family, so uh, I put pressure on myself to be great, and that's just the way I feel about everything I do. I want to compete. I want to be great at everything I do. I want to be like one of the best. I want to be talked about. So, um, when I was away from the game, and I put pressure on myself to be great, to take care of my family and everything. So that's really what I was referring to. But like, I want to be great, man. I want to compete, and that was the way I was feeling. So I put that out there for everybody to know.
Man, I didn't know. I love it. I mean, think about like, right, you're kind of like a stock. And all these NFL teams have to say, all right, what stock am I going to invest in? And it's like, well, what's different about this one? What separates this one from the pack? Why do we want Payton? And it's like, well, a guy that puts that pressure on himself and has that drive like that, that's got to be part of the equation.
Yeah, man. I hope so. Hope that's the way they see it, man.
So what else is the differentiating factor? We've only seen a limited amount of film on Payton Turner. Why is he the guy? How is this guy? Why him? Why is he going to turn the franchise around?
Man, I mean, I'm a hard worker, dude. I'm a leader by example. I can be that verbal.
Team captain.
Yeah, team captain, man. Unanimous, man. So, I think that I'm a leader. I feel that I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna bring that energy every day, ready to compete, ready to push everybody else around me to be great. So I hope that teams can see that. I'm an intelligent dude, and I'm ready to work. So I hope that's the message that gets across the teams.
And I think that that's going to shine through pretty quickly. But when you get to the Senior Bowl and you're in Mobile, those one-on-one matchups, man, everyone drools over them. I mean, what kind of prep are you doing to try to scout the opponents here? Because this is the type of thing that I don't want to say make or break, because obviously it's not like everything depends on it. But man, that's the spotlight.
Yeah, those are important, man. Everybody, like you said, everybody drools about those, man. They want to see the matchups. They want to see what you got in the toolbox. So, we start working up positions and stuff, position work and stuff up here in Frisco this upcoming week. Probably get some extra work on the side. But as far as scouting the guys, people are still figuring out whether they're going or not. Some people are deciding not to back up out of it. So I haven't gotten super deep into that yet. I think it's more of you get in the moment, you see who you're going against, you see what you want to do, you see what they do. But yeah, man, I think all that's going to start soon. There's a lot of talent there. All those guys are old, experienced, so it's not like you're going against a young dude that hasn't seen anything. They've seen a lot of stuff. So that prep work's going to be important, and I'm excited to get after it.
So do you talk to any guys that have already gone through this process that like maybe you've leaned on for a little bit of advice, whether it is the Senior Bowl or literally anything getting ready for the NFL?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of guys that come out of Houston these past few years that I've chopped it up with. Whether it be Ed Oliver, Josh Jones, Neka, Ebule, Isaiah Johnson, the corner. But yeah, it's always nice when you got some older guys that you're tight with, or you can hit up and chop it up about. But yeah, I was talking to Josh a few weeks ago about the Senior Bowl and everything, how it works. So I'm excited to get after it, man. Get over in Mobile and see all the talent, and compete big time.
For sure. So man, I end things on the gauntlet, which is just a quick hitter segment that I do. But before we get to that, lastly, I want to ask, like, who do you watch film on? Yeah, scouting guys and everything. But when you are trying to get better, whose film are you watching? Who, like, past or former, current NFL players? Who sort of do you look to be like, man, I want to take from this guy?
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot of talented guys. I'd say the first person I look at is myself, so I can, address what I need to fix before I go look for something I can add, because there's always stuff you need to fix about yourself before you can go try to get better. So I'd say the first person I looked at is myself, but then, you get guys in the league, you look at, DeMarcus Lawrence, or you look at DeMarcus Ware, Eric Armstead, all those guys that are, big and long, that I'm compared to, whether it be, the Saints DNs, they got some big DNs over there, Marcus Davenport. So, I mean, there's always guys that you look at and compare yourself to, but I think the first person you got to look at is yourself and what you can do better. So that's the way I approach it.
Definitely. Well, man, as promised, I got this little thing called the gauntlet. I need your knee-jerk answer on a couple things, starting with what's most important. Is it having the number one offense or the number one defense?
Number one defense.
From a defensive end, of course. Pre-game ritual. Is there anything you have to do?
I gotta pray. Every pregame, I gotta hit a prayer, whether it be with the team, by myself, or both.
Got it. Now, 4th and goal, you got to get the quarterback. What's the best move that you have? What are you doing to get past that lineman?
Man, shoot. I like one-arm power, so I might come out there with one-arm power, dude. Depends on the set I get, but I love to. There's nothing like overpowering a man in front of you, man. So that's
for sure. Now, what's most important? Is it the players or is it the scheme?
Players.
All right. Man, I got one more for you, and it's just given everything that you've gone through to get to this point right here. What's the best piece of advice that you'd give to a young student athlete that wants to get there someday?
Man, keep grinding, dude. Whether anybody tells you no, if they told me no, I would have been done a long time ago. So if they tell you can't, then show them you can, and just all that negative energy that you get, just let that feed you, let that make you better.
There you have it, man. Well, Payton, I can't wait to see the Senior Bowl, and of course, everything that happens after there. I wish you all the best. Thanks again for taking the time today.
Appreciate it, Steve, man.